when he's back, how much easier does that make your job, and how gratifying was it to see a good rushing performance on Saturday?
Much easier job. Obviously, you don't have to worry about if something happens, what are you going to do next or whatnot. So it was huge. And it was just fun to get them both out there and then get the ground game going. And obviously, you saw Nolan out there, and that was helped out. But it was just good to get those guys both healthy again. It kind of felt like, I can't remember last time, I kind of felt like early in the season. Mm-hmm. And the good thing is, like, when you get a lead, you hope you can do that and eat up clock. And that's the best thing is that 8 or 9 minutes. I don't know how long the drive was at the end, but like being able to eat up the clock and kind of end the game on our terms, it was huge. And it's a big compliment to those two dudes and the line, obviously the tight ends.
Has not having them healthy together limited what you maybe thought you were going to do before the season started offensively?
I don't know if it's limited. Sometimes it's limited within each game.
Sure.
Sometimes like maybe, hey. Well, and then maybe even the guy who's healthy might not be healthy, if that makes sense to you. Like, not exactly. So you got to get some ball distribution, get the ball out to people, throw the ball more, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So having both guys, like, you got the full complement of what you want to do offensively. You're like, okay, great. If it's going, great, keep it going. I have no problem like handing the ball off, whatever, 10 straight times, whatever you got. Like, I had no idea. I don't keep track. I'm gonna say, oh, it looks good. Looks good. So and he did a great job. He didn't look tired. He was rolling.
Have you ever had that happen where one player gets 10
No,
carries
I didn't
in a
know
row?
until Andy just said something. I apologize. Like, I know Coach mentioned it before. I didn't even think about it. Because those guys, how do you say this? Those guys have rotated. Once they're healthy, they rotate anyway. So I never know. I don't think there's a play for Daniel or a play for Deshaun for the most part when they're both healthy. They're not in that case. So I didn't know who was. I know someone was carrying the rock, and I'm like, sometimes I know who scores. Not to be me, because I think I really respect. I trust them. I respect them. I love them both, and I know that JL's get them in and out, and I trust those guys, and they roll.
On that topic then,
yeah.
I don't think we've ever talked about it, but like, how does that substitution work? Like, is that on Coach Wallace? Is he deciding who's in, who's out?
Yeah, like the rotations, we as coaches talk about. Lance obviously has the end all. If you want somebody in, or we always talk about before the game, like on Fridays, or hey, you're gonna do this, or roll it this way, or hey, we're gonna rotate 2 series, or whatever it goes sometimes. So he trusts Jay Wall. Because sometimes he says, hey, I need somebody else in, then they go in. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of times it's communicated before, and they know. And then sometimes Jay will just keep the hot hand potentially. Sometimes that goes sometimes, but it's always we talked about it before, and then coach can obviously do whatever whenever he wants to trump that baby, he can.
Hey Jim, you guys had some. Did you see success when you're bringing in the extra O lineman for a blocker?
I felt it most was at the end. I felt the throw. Obviously, we're moving the ball and we're doing well. It's kind of a mixture. It's going great. But at the end, you kind of felt that's when you kind of saw the surge in the box on the last drive after I think they went for it. Didn't get it, I think. So it was like a 40-something yard drive. That's where you saw the O-line start going, like the line of scrimmage go from here down. Ooh, that's, that's what I basically called the same play like 5 times in a row. It just kind of kept surging. That was kind of funny. You felt it throughout the game. And Daniel and those guys are running well, but then that was the moment you saw, you're like, ooh, that line of scrimmage has changed drastically, and that's a good thing.
You had Nolan do it most of the time, but I think at the end, Tavake also got a couple snaps in that role. I guess what kind of traits make for a good 6th offensive line?
No, nothing special. It's kind of like who's next up. It's sometimes who. Usually, a lot of times it can be anybody. Some people use guard tackle easier sometimes because they're out there on the edge already. If that makes sense to you. Yeah. And then it's kind of a mixture of, hey, this is the guy we want, and play it well, practice it well, and kind of the next guy. So I don't know if there's a specific trait. Now, if you change the number around, there needs to be a little trait, obviously, but it's something. But no, there isn't really. It's really this next guy up. So I think Enrique, whoever it may be, goes.
What do you see from Arizona's defense?
Really good, really good. Run around really well. They're multiple there. I think it's the same coordinator through the Urlacher days back in the day. I think the Desert Storm, this type of stuff, but really good, fast in the back end. They rush the passer exceptionally well with either 4 guys or they bring pressure and they're bringing it. Their cornerbacks are outstanding, really good cover skills, and they're probably one of the more, if not most, multiple teams in the back end. Just in terms of the different looks. When you watch them on tape, they're kind of, and all over the place, the compliment to them because they're all over, and it's making it hard to see what's happening sometimes. So I can see why they cause confusion and interceptions. I think have happened. They're way up there in interception and those kind of things. So I think they do a great job of causing confusion. And like I said, they all run well, and they're playing really well. And they play with high. You always say, they play hard, but they play with a great amount of energy. That is a high energy program. You can see on the sideline, they make a play and they're jumping up and down and they're playing out, they're feasting off of turnovers and lost yardage plays and that kind of stuff. So we got to do our best, hopefully maintain what we did last week.
What's it like kind of building a foundation when you're taking on a new conference opponent that you haven't seen before? Just getting used to it.
No, it's not, it's good, great, really good question. It's kind of, you get to, you kind of see them throughout the season. You see them on tape occasionally. So you kind of get a feel like what's a little bit sometimes you see more of certain teams than other. So it's really just that first, the initial look, and then really you need that first game out there before you get a really good feel. But a lot of times you see me, okay, and then after the first down, it's kind of is what it is.
How did you feel like Jalen performed on Saturday?
Solid. I said really solid. I said there was the one. I said they're always like, I saw it as a compliment. I thought he controlled the game well. He ran well. Obviously, when you have no turn, like you eliminate turnovers and minus plays was huge after the last couple of weeks. So that's what I was really most proud of him. And then really solid in that regard. I think he wants the one back when Cam's running wild down the middle of the field. Like there's E-Man. That's always like, hey, E-Man's over there. One-on-one, and the defense was kind of soft, and like, ooh, and Cam broke through on the tempo. So I was happy, and I was happy with the high conversion rate on third and fourth down. That was a big thing. Making those things, making those plays, and keeping us on the field. So I was really pleased and happy for people call it bounce back. I told myself I was just really proud of the way he played. He played like with poise and looked calm and relaxed and comfortable again. Hopefully keep that.
Bryson kind of emerged with 2 big receptions. Talk about his growth throughout the season and how he performed on Saturday.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I can remember when he was actually full, like second, third, fourth game, what's like that. And then he's kept gaining reps. When you saw him early, like, man, that's a long, athletic kid with great hands and really great at the 50-50 balls. T-Sam calls it, or that. And it's just kind of, he learned, our offense has obviously a lot of moving pieces, parts to it, and learn a lot. He started getting more and more comfortable throughout that time. He started playing a little bit more, and now you're kind of seeing hey, I know where I'm going, what I'm doing now. So it's been great. That's the biggest growth. And him being able to play, we call it free and fast, because he knows where to line now. He knows the verbiage and the terminology and all that stuff so well. Now he can just go play. So it's been really fun. That's good. I don't know last time we threw a fade ball. Like that was freaking. I laughed going, geez, Louise. But that was good to see it. Thank goodness.
How's Leighton Cure doing now? He's playing kind of his most football for you guys.
You know what? I was most proud. I'm proud of all those guys, but I was so proud of him and happy for him. Because there's been moments where he's gone out there maybe and something good didn't happen to him, or he made a mistake, or he dropped a ball, or missed a block. Right? He just played. It was really, he played probably the most he's played in a long time, and the third down catch was huge. And then I laughed at him about the other one when he could have scored a touchdown. I guess he didn't want it, but yeah, I guess he wanted that. He wanted someone else to garner that touchdown. But the fourth down was not easy. And that's a big, crucial call, and he caught it and broke a tackle, kind of got ahead. So I was so happy. Hopefully, I would give him confidence that he can do. We know he can, but to be able to finally do it on the stage, on a big stage, has been awesome. So excited for him.
I know we've asked you about this at a couple different junctures this season, but how are the guys in that room responding to increased responsibility and just fewer overall bodies, I guess?
I think they're responding well. I think they're, how do you say this? I'm going to say it's really weird, probably. I think they have no problem with no one going out there sometimes. And those guys play because you start realizing the amount of 12 personnel we use, those guys do so many different things, so that's good for them. I think they're responding well, and they're a really tight group. Like I said, all the groups are, but quarterback's really tight, and the tight ends are really tight. So I think they kind of root for each other, cheer for each other, and excited. And I think they kind of pulled Mikey in, they pulled Nolan in, even though he's not, but he's got to pull him in. I think they're happy for success, so they've done well.
How much time is Mikey spending in the meeting room with you versus in the meeting room with
mostly tight end now, and then I catch him up because he knows it. The good thing now is just as he sees the plays, he knows unless there's a true wrinkle of a player, like, hey, a new deal. But he's been here long enough now where he can get the little intricacies with Coach Lubick, and then like, hey, here's a different checker, here's some other stuff. So more time with him because obviously that's a newer part. And then I always catch him up and get him out there. And he does snaps and catches up. He's kind of a multi-train. He's getting multi-trained, if that makes sense.
Isaiah Marshall had that long run. How do you determine when to use him and if you're going to want to use him more? You only use him that one time.
No, you do. That's really good because sometimes as things are going, you're like, okay, anytime a carry occurs, it takes a carry away from somewhere else, or is the flow of the game, especially quarterback-wise, because you're like, this dude, especially when he's taking a snap. You're like, okay, is that going to and luckily the way we practice hasn't been a problem. But there's no real. I kind of in my mind go, okay, these are 2 or 3 plays I want to make sure I get to. And sometimes the game dictates, got yeah or like ooh. And then they want to get my head at halftime. Like, okay, we got to get to that. I'm pretty sure the third quarter, right? Yeah. I said we got to get to that play, and I said I just got to do it, and did it. And I was after I think our defense had a great stack. They had a short punt or something like that, and then he gashed it. So I was always there. I was hoping to use it earlier. Just kind of the game kind of dictated. It was so weird. We had 2 drives the first half, and they were. It's like a military game. You know, sometimes you've been in the Army before, you don't get the ball very much. But I don't know if I've ever got it only 2 times. Usually you get like third time, that token at the end of half. Hey, do I go? You didn't get that. So that's why it didn't happen as soon. And then it went, and I'm like, that was terrific. We laughed at it. I'm like, dude, you got run down. But that kid was fast. Whoever chased him was fast because he's fast. I know there's 2 fast dudes running. So it was good. And yeah, and the good thing is you've seen both the guys out there, and they'll keep garnering more and more. We'll see how. There's always going to be packages for those guys.
And speaking of the speed, they've been really focusing on taking Emmanuel away.
Yes.
Defenses has in recent weeks. How's he handling that attention, and how are you handling?
No, I think
him?
he's handling it well. He's such a great. You can never tell him. I'm sure, especially when you're getting doubled up, or they're playing soft on him, or they're kind of rolling coverages towards him, which then is kind of freeing up some other people. So I think he's handling it well. And then for me, I've seen it, like it got through a little bit in the K-State world. When you say, hey, they're playing a little more off than you thought they showed man-wise. So that kind of adjustment, and this one, the same thing, kind of similar structure. Where I thought initially maybe would bring more or play more man early, kind of play zone until third down and long, and brought some stuff. So he's handled it well. I think I've adjusted. I think we're adjusting on it. You got to take what they give you and move on. And then occasionally you just want to be able to have those few moments still to give him a chance. That's why I've done a great job with that. Yeah, I gotta keep working through that.
Do you ever want to force feed it?
I do kind of sometimes,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it gets like a weird time happening and I don't. But
Right.
yeah, I think in the back of your mind, going, hey, just got to throw it up there. And I think the NFL guys do a really good job. Is sometimes say just throw it out there and see what happens. I think they, I know watching those guys. So I've heard certain reasons why certain guys get so many touches. So there's some of that too. I'm like, hey, there's some moments where I just say, hey, throw it that way. But the scary part, the one time we did, the Cam's running down the middle of the field. So it's a no win. But yes, you are 100% correct.
Yeah.
When you talk about NFL guys, they're still right up there. Are there ones that you gravitate toward more? Just seeing
Quarterback wise or receiver or coach wise? No, I the bike is a Jefferson kid. Yeah, not a kid, young man. I always say it that way, but he's unbelievable. Like you can see when he watched, and then we watch a little NFL football now because we're obviously here and they catch little tidbits of it. But that kid, he kind of stands out. Whenever I saw the bike, it seemed like the ball just finds him, and that's kind of the one that has. For some reason, that stuck out. I know there's other ones. For sure, I'm a terrible name guy. He's the one that always just kind of pops out. That bike has just popped out. Maybe they're playing in Europe or something, or whatever they were. Something I caught a little bit of their games. I'm like, they find a way to get him the ball.
Anything else for Coach Z?